WWE's favourite phrase is you never say never, but really they need to move this to one side and start to embrace anything can happen, because my word is that ever the case. No one is happier to just do mad things within the confines of sports entertainment than World Wrestling Entertainment, to the point events that happened years ago are still truly baffling. I'm Simon from What Culture, please do subscribe, and this is 10 WWE moments that left us confused. Number 10, Don Muraco's maths. Long before Scott Steiner was smashing out percentages or even The Rock was influencing promos forevermore using his tongue twisters, Don Muraco decided to just try and stump everyone when referencing what was on his shirt. Happening at the very first King of the Ring, which people forget went down in 1985 before it returned in 1993, Don turned his attentions to Ricky Steamboat and the Junkyard Dog. These were his exact words. It's time and numbers and space. 64, maybe 65, but maybe 46 to somebody else's eyes, and we're gonna be in your face. Now, yes, he just so happened to be wearing a football jersey with this number on it, but unless you were in need of urgent medical attention, I don't think anybody read it as 65, and most definitely not 46. It was 64, and it was always gonna be. Given when this took place, there's every chance that Muraco may have indulged before doing this interview, and the highlight is Mean Gene Okerlund, who cannot keep a straight face. I don't blame him. Number 9, The Undertaker ascends. A weird one this, as it depends on your age. When I saw The Undertaker ransacked by Yokozuna and his crew at the 1994 Royal Rumble and trapped in his own casket, I thought it was the coolest thing ever, especially when he appeared on the big screen and went upwards. We don't really know where he was headed, but the idea was that he was dead, and through my child eyes, this was the best thing ever. Today, not so much. It just doesn't make sense. Yoko and the dead man were fighting in a casket match to begin with, so there was always a chance this could happen, and given that Taker was just trapped in a box, who knows? If you wind it forward 4 years too, you'd get a similar scenario, although this time Kane was setting his brother on fire, and at least there you had a cause of death. The Phenom didn't even have time to suffocate here before telling us he would never rest in peace. It's just some of the goofy stuff WWE has done throughout its history which always divides people. I will always be a fan even when it is nonsense. I don't want to live in a world where creativity isn't allowed to run free, even if that creativity is proper bonkers. Number 8, A Bird in an Egg. This one will never makes sense. Even in the year 2897, people will still be asking what Vince McMahon was thinking when he teased an arrival via a giant egg at the 1990 Survivor Series for months. And I mean months. This was treated like the biggest event imaginable. And then in the middle of the pay-per-view, the egg hatched and out came Hector Guerrero dressed as the gobbledygooker. I still don't know 3 decades later, and don't pretend this was for kids either, they too booed the crap out of it. Hilariously, the plan was to make this WWE's mascot much like a Mario or a Sonic. Say what you like about those two guys, but they have so much more to enjoy than a stupid-looking feather bird shaking his ass. It barely lasted a month before management realized what they had done, although they must still hold out some hope. The Gooker is always returning here or there, apparently for comedic purposes. Most of the time, we all just facepalm and groan. Number 7, The Hand. I still don't get it. A whole angle apparently just so we could get a one-liner into the show, which wasn't even that funny. Think of this the next time you go on about who killed kayfabe. It's been dead for ages. But yes, during the Attitude Era, not only did Mark Henry start a relationship with the much older Mae Young, he got her pregnant, and then she gave birth to a hand. You heard that right too. If this is new to you, a hand popped out of a wham-wham. Those present for the birth acted accordingly too. Gerald Briscoe threw up for some reason. Henry could barely control himself until Pat Patterson summed the whole thing up when he said, "Let's give May a hand." Just baffling from top to bottom. It was done as part troll, part skin to make Vince McMahon laugh, I suppose. And you wonder why so many people stopped watching. Number 6, every Ultimate Warrior promo. And I mean every single one. Now you can't fault them too much because they worked. In the 90s, fans were captivated by the Ultimate Warrior, hence why he was the chosen man to dethrone Hulk Hogan, but that never meant anything he said made any sense. I'm pretty sure he invented his own language. Talking of Hulkamania, it was during this feud where Warrior cut one of his most infamous interviews where he said, "You interfered with my pathways of communication to my warriors, Hulk Hogan. You, Hulk Hogan, control a force field around you that I am only beginning to understand." Cool. Okay, thanks. I'm gonna go over there. It didn't stop him from taking over, and there's every chance he was an actual alien. He was an interesting chap, to say the least. Number 5, the wild card. This is topical, isn't it? Back in May 2019, Vince McMahon appeared on WWE TV to address the falling ratings and the apathy towards the product by introducing the wild card rule. It would allow 3 wrestlers to jump to the other brand once a week in the hope it would get more people to watch Raw and SmackDown. It sounds simple enough, and then by the end of the night, 4 people had made this jump. It caused instant confusion to the point even Kevin Owens during a promo said he had no idea what was going on, and it led to WWE having to post an article on their website clarifying that they actually meant 4. This then just ended for no reason anyways, as another plan got killed off when it didn't work. Why do we even have the brand split these days? It's not like the rules are ever kept to. Number 4, Montreal. I know, we never need to talk about the screw job again, but there is a more interesting way to look at it, and it comes from how fans saw it then and how fans see it now. Let's start in 1997. While in abundance today, the dirt sheets as they were known were far more niche in the late 90s. If you were savvy, you could still find out what was going on, but most of the audience watched and got their info right from what they were seeing. So when the end of the Survivor Series went down, no one knew what the hell was going on. Don't forget the viewers that night didn't see Bret Hart signing WCW either. The feed cut off as Shawn Michaels scurried down the rampway, but even then it was obvious something was wrong. So there's confusion number 1. Move forward to the modern day, and that's still the case for fans who weren't around back then. The thought of protecting the world title in this way seems farcical given how they're treated now, and it's likely true, it wouldn't even happen today. There would be no need. Whether that's good or bad is up to you. Even The Undertaker during his run of promotional interviews spoke about how there would have been a much better way to deal with all of this, and if the dead man thinks it, you better believe it's true. Number 3, the Firefly Funhouse. I think we all love the Firefly Funhouse, well, most of us anyway. It was yet more evidence into the mindset of Bray Wyatt, and even though at first people thought he'd lost it, he proved us all wrong. It was that creative spark wrestling needs. When this evolved into a fully fledged match at WrestleMania 36, it also received a lot of praise, but let's face it, if you weren't completely aware of the story we were trying to tell with John Cena, this would be like watching classic French cinema with no subtitles. You wouldn't have a clue. But it was a look into Big Match John's psyche, and the ups and downs he's been through throughout his career. It was actually rather nuanced for WWE. It made you feel like you were part of a special club and that you'd been rewarded for paying attention. This wasn't universal though, and one person who also didn't get it was none other than Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Rumored to not be his cup of tea, I suppose he would have rather seen 2 pieces of meat smacking each other. Both are fine with me. Number 2, the higher power. As always, we have to caveat this with the fact that yes, the highlight of it all was we got to see Vince McMahon throw back his hood and shout, "It was me, Austin! It was me all along!" He's been quoted over and over ever since. When you try and explain it though, who the hell knows? If you take the story as it was explained by the chairman of the board himself, he ordered his family to be abducted and tortured by the Ministry of Darkness so he could trick Steve Austin into saving them, which for some reason was a bad thing. Nope, there's no logic here. Do not try and get it. The truth is the role was penciled in to be Christopher Daniels, but when Vince McMahon saw him and wasn't impressed with his size, that was that. There were even rumors it was going to be Jake the Snake Roberts. Either would have left us far less confused. Number 1, that marriage. This one is just the best, and it starts all the way back in 1999. When Triple H popped up on the big screen during Stephanie McMahon and Tess' wedding to reveal he had married Steph first, the world stopped. For 1, poor Tess, but 2, how was this legal? The game had clearly drugged this poor woman and kidnapped her before driving to Vegas and marrying her against her will. That is not gonna fly. It made sense when it turned out these 2 were in cahoots, but like all wrestling relationships, it was never gonna last. It never does. In 2003, the whole thing was done, and within the story, they were divorced. It was sad times until 2009. As the game feuded with Randy Orton and things got personal, all of a sudden it was made very clear that the billion-dollar princess and the King of Kings was still a thing, even though that had never been addressed on screen. Okay then, I guess I'll just accept it. I suppose they must have renewed their vows and simply not told anyone. Know of any other more WW moments that left us all confused? And my word, that list could go on forever. King of the Ring 1999. Make sure you leave it in a comment below, and don't forget to like the video, share the video, and smash that subscribe button. Then we also have a website known as whatculture.com. We also have a Twitter known as whatculture_WWE, and you can watch more videos here on What Culture Wrestling. I promise you will be entertained. Or you'll just get mad. Both are fine. My name is Simon from What Culture, and I will talk to you again soon.